Dr. Sloan here again. I am your hair loss support and lifestyle brother. So, as you may be able to tell, I did decide after all that I did not like the bald fade with the mistakes that I made and how high that I pushed it. So I've decided that I want to go back to a razor shave, then let it grow back out again from there. So as you can see, I already went ahead and did the zero guard in order to prep for this beforehand. Otherwise, this video will be just as long as the other one ended up being that I just now had the opportunity to edit. Anyway, go ahead and it appears as though my sink is not keeping water in it at the moment. So that's going to be fun. Go ahead and get the hot water on my head. Run some fresh water because apparently my stopper is leaking. For a second I wondered if my washcloth had absorbed all of the water that was in the sink, but then I thought, no, it couldn't be. Okay, so for today, normally, whenever I do something like a head shave or even a regular shave, I generally just talk about what I'm doing there and focus on that. But today I want to do something a little different, especially as I begin to get used to doing these kinds of things. Use my lube, which is something I pretty much always use for a head shave. Anyway, as I was saying, I'm wanting to start having just little semi-conversations while I shave my head here. Get a little more of the lube on the top of my head. And today, I wanted to talk about the fact that my wife and I are trying out the keto diet. I know I may not show it a whole lot in my videos. You've probably seen it in some of my other videos, but I am a little bit overweight. That's for certain. I could stand to lose about... Oh, apparently all of my water just ran out. I could stand to lose about 20 to 30 pounds. Well, maybe about 20 at this point. But, so if you don't know what keto is a diet where, unlike Atkins, you don't begin by cutting out carbs entirely. You still just cut down on carbs. And there's a wide variety of ways that you can do it. This divot in my head here is causing the blade to skip a bit. Anyway, that said, back on topic. Yeah, so there's so many wide varieties of ways that you can choose to do keto. My wife and I are doing a bit of a stricter version of it. Now we do allow ourselves to eat some of the bread substitutes that are out there, which generally use coconut and or almond flour. anything that ends up essentially being low carb in the end is something that we utilize. And our current goal in order to aim for good weight loss is 20 grams of carbs per day. And you know, it is tough, but it isn't at the same time. Like, there are so many things that I enjoy eating that are either low carb or no carb. Like, for example, most meats are no carb. And, well, I'm a big fan of that, so. But yeah, I mean, pretty much the keto diet is considered within certain variations to be getting 50 grams of carbs per day or less. So 50 is actually a pretty decent allowance for most people. However, if you really monitor what you eat on a normal basis, you'll realize just how easily we actually eat extremely high amounts of carbs without even realizing it. So, I mean, you know, there's nothing wrong with carbs, but too much will cause your body to store as fat. Now, I have done a little research, and it seems that there are, of course, all kinds of different opinions about it. You know, from people saying that it downright doesn't work, to people saying, oh, as soon as you stop keto, you're just going to gain all that weight back. In which case, many people just don't ever stop keto. For many people becomes just a complete lifestyle change. And, you know, if it works, it works. There was one article I had read where a gentleman had looked into many scientific articles, different studies, finding, you know, that low carb and high fat worked well for weight loss. But then so did low fat and high carb diets for certain other people. So what he came to is that both ideas work, but that you should not combine high carb and high fat, otherwise you end up with an overabundance of fuel for your body, which stores as fat. And that could very well be, because, you know, you see all kinds of people who, you know, carbo load like crazy, eat low fat, and they're, you know, skinny as can be. Of course, you know, most of those people are also runners, so that's part of the thing there is, you know, that's fuel for their endurance. But then what you don't think of, because of how society has, you know, kind of trained us to think on the matter, they teach us, oh no, eating fat is going to make you fat. And that's, you know, really not the case. You know, our bodies are made to break down fat and such. And Something my wife brought up to me is, you know, if you think about it, when you're first born, your body kind of operates in a ketogenic way anyway, because you don't get a whole lot of carbs. Yeah, you get some of what's floating around, and like if you're breastfeeding, if you were breastfed, you get some of what's floating around in your mother's blood, but most of what you're, you know, processing is protein and fat from the mother's milk. So you know, whereas yes, you do need carbs. You do absolutely need carbs to fuel your brain, at least to get the kickstart. So don't ever go completely without carbs. That actually can kill you. It's perfectly fine to go low carb. If I recall, I think I actually said my wife and I aim for 20 grams per day in order to promote weight loss. Anywhere from 30 and under is in weight loss range, but 20 is ideal weight loss range. It's going to be about time to put on a new blade. After this shave, I'll probably need to. But just for our own, like we've already had results. Now at this phase, it's only water weight, but I've already lost 10 pounds in 5 days. The actual fat loss doesn't really begin until another week or two from now. But you know, despite the fact that it's only water weight, I'm still satisfied with that. I mean, that's 10 pounds off of me in 5 days. I do apologize for how long the head shave takes me. I'm, you know, a bit of an amateur at this, so. This is only my 3rd head shave with a razor. I'm also getting used to, you know, I may be new to the whole head shaving thing, but, you know, I'm used to using a razor to shave my face, of course. But I'm kind of trying to get out of the bad habits of a stick razor. I mean, you know, it's not exactly a bad habit, but it doesn't work with, you know, the head blade. You know, I have to stay on the trackball here with this head blade in order to have it follow the contour of my head and be more gentle. Whereas what I'm used to doing with a regular razor, like most people, is only using the head of the razor. Hopefully I don't cause myself too much irritation. Last time I shaved, I actually had very minor irritation. Almost nothing. But yeah, I mean, as I was saying about keto, I am going to miss things like bread and ice cream, which, I mean, don't get me wrong, I can make my own keto ice cream, but I still have to be careful with that too, because it's still, even though it's going to be much lower carb than regular ice cream, it's still fairly high carb in and of itself. The biggest thing, well, maybe by the time I go to the Renaissance Fair this year, I will be in a good enough place on keto that I will be able to have a cheat day without it setting me back too far. Because one thing that I'm going to miss is being able to drink my mead. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not a big alcohol drinker, but I enjoy some mead when I'm able to have it. And, I'm not a heavy drinker. So, I don't get all of that much of a desire to drink. And the only actual alcohols that are really safe on keto are pure spirits, whiskey, tequila, cognac, and, that sort of thing, vodka. And for a lot of people, that's a good thing. And, if I make a little mixed drink here and there, that'll be fine for me too. But I just like to sit down with a beer occasionally, and pretty much all that's going to be available to me now while on keto is light beer. And light beer is not very good. I prefer my full strength craft beers, but that's just me. I could maybe stomach doing a light beer occasionally, but there's really no need for it because I don't drink beer for the alcohol. I drink it to enjoy the flavor. Maybe that's what I should have done. Instead of wasting more lube on my head, I should have just added some more water. Like I said, I do apologize for this taking so long. I'm being particular about the smoothness of my head. And since we're having a bit of a conversation here, I figured, why not? But yeah, I mean, you know, most things actually aren't going to set us back too much with keto. And so we're pretty happy with that. Like, yeah, there are usual staples we miss, like pasta. For me, especially ramen. I'm like, holy cow, I want my ramen. And I've tried one keto pasta recipe recently, and it was okay. But it kind of tasted more like, you see, with the keto ingredients, you can't really boil it. It has to be lightly fried, and kind of just tasted more like strips of fried bread, which was fine by us. I mean, it was still pretty good, but it obviously wasn't pasta. So there are a few other recipes to try. Now, the keto biscuits were actually really good. Used coconut flour, egg, of course. I think some almond flour as well, and xanthan gum, if I recall that correctly. But yeah, and some cheddar cheese, because they were cheddar biscuits. Those were actually quite good, and it was only like 1 gram of carb for 2 biscuits. I mean, they were tiny, but still, it was also quite filling. So yeah, I'm not necessarily recommending keto to anyone and everyone. Not everyone's bodies can handle it. But for anyone who's interested in trying it, I say go right ahead. Because while it is a little bit tough, I personally think that the results are going to be absolutely worth it. Anyway, that was my quick face and face shave and a long head shave. And oh dear, well, I was going to also on camera wash my face, wash my head with my Dr. Bronner soap and follow up with my doTERRA Amavi aftershave lotion on camera. But seeing how long this has already gone on, I'm going to be cutting this video a little bit short. So we'll see you next time.